Hello, you guys. Welcome back to Lily Reads. So, a thing that people do every single year is they pick whatever number year that we're in. So last year we were in 2022 and they go read 22 books that I want to read in 2022. And I'm jumping on board. I'm going to tell you guys 23 books that I want to read in 2023. Now this is very specific because you can't just pick things that are already on your TBR to immediately read and you're gonna read. In this, you're supposed to pick books that are kind of far-fetched, stuff you've been wanting to get to and been putting it off, or books you wish you've read, other people have read them and you wish you read them, but you never seem to make time for them. That's really what this is about. You're supposed to reach far and wide and try to almost accomplish some goals with this, things that you have been wanting to read and just have not been getting to it. And then at the end of the year, you get to see, did you read the 23 books that you wanted to read in 2023? And that is what I'm going to do here. Now, I don't own most of the books that I want to read. That's what makes this a challenge, because I don't own most of the books that I want to read, but I do own some of them. I will grab them. They're behind me. I will grab the ones that I own, and then we will talk about how this is going to go. So first and foremost, I want to do some rereads. I want to get to some rereads. So my favorite, I say this all the time, but my favorite book of all time is Mama Day by Gloria Naylor. And I would love to do a reread of this book. I have not reread this book since 2019, and I just think it is that time to reread this book. I know I'm going to fucking enjoy it oh so much, and so I want to reread this book. I did a terrible job last year with rereads, and so I want to reread this. Another book that I want to reread is Zadie Smith on Beauty. This is also one of my favorite books of all time. So I read this book and it was one of my favorite books, and I've read it again and still loved it, but I'm a little bit older now since the last time that I read it, and I would love to see what new opinions I have on this book, and so I want to get to that. So that's number 2. And then we have another reread I want to get through, The Great Gatsby. I don't consider myself basic, but I can be basic. In my reading taste, I can be basic. And this is one of my most basic opinions of all time. You know when people do on Twitter and stuff, say your most basic opinion, this is one of my most basic opinions. I love The Great Gatsby. The Great Gatsby is one of my favorite books. It's so basic. In the book, I don't think the book is basic, but it's so basic to like The Great Gatsby. Every English major loves The Great Gatsby. People's wet dreams are about F. Scott Fitzgerald, but I love The Great Gatsby so much. That's why it's one of those things where people are going to say who the fuck likes The Great Gatsby? Oh my god, me. You can't deter me from it. I love The Great Gatsby. I love the characters in The Great Gatsby. I love what Fitzgerald did with The Great Gatsby, and I just want to dive back into this world. I think it's so brilliant. The next book I actually do own, but I'm not gonna go get it. Animal Farm. I want to reread Animal Farm. Catcher in the Rye would probably be my 4th favorite book of all time, but I don't want to reread Catcher in the Rye because I read Catcher in the Rye rather recently. I want to reread Animal Farm because I think if I reread Animal Farm, I think Animal Farm might move up on list of Animal Farm. If I had to make a list of my top 15 favorite books of all time, I believe Animal Farm would be on there, but I want to know that for sure. Animal Farm. I have a copy of Animal Farm. I want to reread Animal Farm. Okay, the next thing, books that I own but haven't read yet. So I do own a copy of this, but it's way down there, so I'm not going to grab it. Little Women. I have been telling y'all for 2 years I'm going to read Little Women, and I have not read Little Women. The reason why I really want to read Little Women is I want to read Little Women and really love Little Women and get some of the special covers that this book comes in, but I have to give it 5 stars. In order to own more than one copy of something, it has to be a 5-star book for me, and so I want to love Little Women and get some of the special copies. Now that I have all the room in the world on my bookshelf, I want to work on just filling my bookshelf with books that I give 4 or 5 stars. That's my goal, to only have a bookshelf full of 4 5-star reads. That's the goal. I'm not there yet because it's really hard for me to get rid of stuff, but one day. And I really hope, I love Little Women, so I want to read Little Women. Where are we at with it? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. We're at 5. That's book 5. The next thing, this is going to sound crazy. Crazy that I have not read this book. But at number 6, Lord of the Flies. I read all the books in school. Like, I never like skipped over reading books in high school. Like, if a book was assigned for school, I read it. Went and got my English degree. Read all the books that were assigned. We never had to read Lord of the Flies in any of the classes that I have ever been in. Some classes at my high school did read Lord of the Flies, but my teachers would always choose something else. So I never had to read Lord of the Flies. It's not that I'm ashamed. Now it's like my personality now that I've never read Lord of the Flies, because I have read so many classics. There are some readers who are like, I've never read any classics. I'm the complete opposite. I've read so many classics. I've never read Lord of the Flies. Like, it's just never been something that has been required reading. And so I never felt like there was a purpose to read it on my own. But I own a copy, and this is the year that I should read Lord of the Flies. What is that, 6? We're at 6 with Little Women. The next book, so we're out of like classics territory. We're done with that. The last book that I own that I would like to read this year is Honey and Spice. This book has been taunting me for some reason. Like, I haven't wanted, because Love and Color by the same author came out, and I just never got to it. So then Honey and Spice came out, and I was just like, okay, Kenya, you have to give Bolu Babalola her dues. You have to give her dues, and you need to read Honey and Spice. I literally picked up this book because you guys know I do not plan on buying a bunch of books this year, but this was on, like, this has a kind of a long hold at my library, which, shout out, but it has kind of a long hold, and so I knew that if I did not own it, I would put off reading it. But now it's here. Next month is Black History Month, so I'm only going to read books by Black authors, and this is getting read, honey. This is getting read next month. Speaking of Amari and the Night Brothers. So I want to read Amari and the Night Brothers book 1 and book 2. So we're adding those two things together. I love middle grade. I love middle grade so much. And middle grade, like, fantasy, I think I've grown into. So I want to read Amari and the Night Brothers. I've heard nothing but good things about them. So I want to read both of those books. So I am going to make those, like, what? 8 and 9? 8 and 9. Let's count what we have. So we have Lord of the Flies. We have Animal Farm, Gatsby, On Beauty, Mama Day. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, Honey and Spice. 7, Little Woman. Amari, 8. Other Amari, 9. So we have 11. We have what? 14 more books to get to. And so at 10, I want to read Circe this year. This book is on hold at my library. It's actually ready to pick up, but we've already run into a problem. I've already kind of got my January TBR together. I'm moving through my January TBR, so there just ain't no time for me to get to Circe. But I want to read Circe this year, so I am going to have to let that hold at the library, just go to the next person who wants the book. But I want to read Circe. The next thing that we have, so you guys know I really loved Witchlings last year. Well, Witchlings has a second book coming out, and I want to read it. So at number 11, I want to read the sequel to Witchlings. Now, I know you're saying, you said, Kenya, at the beginning of the video, you were talking about not including books that already are on your TBR to read. Actually, I have an issue with reading sequels. I can love a book so much, absolutely love it. And there is something about getting to the sequel of it my body cannot do. My body just can't pick up the sequel to a book. There are so many books that I've just had to unhaul that I just never read the second book in the series. That's why I don't really read series, because I can't do it. I read the first book and it's just like, I don't want to do it. But I am going to read the sequel to Witchlings because it's here. Okay, next thing that we have is Agatha Christie. I want to really keep moving through Agatha Christie's catalog and reading more Agatha Christie. I really fucking enjoyed reading the Agatha Christie books that I read last year, and so I want to read Death on the Nile. I know a lot of people like to go in order with Agatha Christie. I really have no I'll go in any order. It really does not matter. I'll go in any order when it comes to that. So Death on the Nile, I want to read it. I want to say that I've been able to read most of like her most popular books. So Death on the Nile, I want to get to Death on the Nile. I want to read Wrong Place, Wrong Time. This got on this list because I saw this on so many people's like end of the year list. And also I saw this in some people's like books they want to read in 2023. So Wrong Place, Wrong Time, I want to get to. The next book that I want to get to in 2023 is Alice's Island. This book has been on my radar for a minute, and I've always been like, I don't know, but now it is time in 2023. I am going to get this book. I literally saw that it was at my library when I went to go check out some other books from my library, so I gotta get to this. I want to read this book. I'm really excited. The next book that we have is Babel. I want to read Babel. I want to love Babel, and I want to get a copy of Babel. But I've told myself when it comes to like fantasy or sci-fi genres that I don't reach for, I can't just buy the book. I'm going to have to read the book another way, and then if I like it, I'll have to buy me a copy because I get so many duds when it comes to sci-fi and fantasy that I just can't pick it up. So I want to read Babel. I want to love Babel. We will see. The next thing that I want to read is Pachinko. This is a book that I also do own, but I don't want to get it as well. Pachinko, this book has just been staring at me. It's already a show. It's already a TV show. Like, it's just been staring at me. And it's just like, when you gonna read me, girl? Like, it seems like it's up my alley, but even if it's not, I want to be able to say I read it and just let it be that. So I want to read Pachinko. It's Radio Silence. Radio Silence, I need to read. Talk about putting off a book for forever. This book has had its day, had another day, and now it just is what it is. And I still haven't gotten to it. I own it. Y'all know I own it. I've showed it. Radio Silence is a book that I need to read. The next book that I want to read in 2022 is 100% because of Monty, The Force of Such Beauty. I own this book now. It's way up there, so I will not be going up there to get it. But The Force of Such Beauty, I want to read this book so bad. Me and Monty don't see eye to eye about a lot of books, but I trust Monty's recommendations, especially on stuff like this. So I need to read this book, and I need to see what it's about. I can't wait. I just want to reread the entire Junie B. Jones collection. I was supposed to do it last year for a video, but I just did not get to it. I want to read Junie B. Jones this year for a video. It's time. It's time to get back, see what Junie is up to. I want to read Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson. Is this Tiffany D. Jackson's first book? I believe that this is Tiffany D. Jackson's first book, but I want to read Allegedly. I haven't heard anything about this book. Literally Tiffany D. Jackson books get a lot of love, but I have not heard anything about Allegedly, and I own Allegedly, and so I want to read it so bad. So, Allegedly is also on this list. 23 books I need to read in 2023. The next book I need to read is Jar of Hearts. Talk about, you guys, let me tell you what I've gone through with Jar of Hearts. Got it on Libby. I got it on Libby, never got to it. Got it on Libby again, never got to it. I checked it out on Libby at least 4 times. So I was like, okay, Kenya, maybe you just don't want to read the audiobook of this book. So I checked it out at the library. I've checked this book at the library 3 times, and you can keep, at my library, you can keep books for 2 weeks. I have checked this book. I had this book on my bookshelf for 2, 4, 6 weeks. 6 weeks because you get 3 renewals, and I kept it for 2 weeks, and I still didn't get to it. I gotta get to Jar of Hearts. I gotta get to Jar of Hearts. I gotta figure out what format I want to read it in. It didn't work. If I didn't play it when it was in Libby, I clearly want to read it physically. So let me read it physically. I need to get it back from the library. Jar of Hearts is a book that's just been staring at me, and I need to get to it in 2023. The next thing, I'm just going to run off some really quickly that's over here on here. The Overnight Guest. This book, I literally went through to the point, you know, a book that's always in your cart, a book that's always in wherever you buy books, it's always in the top of your brain. Like, if I run across this book, I'm going to get it, or it's always sitting in your cart. The Overnight Guest is that for me. I'm always like, I should get it, and I never get it. So, The Overnight Guest. The next thing, The Family Game. The Family Game was an offering on Book of the Month, and I didn't do it, but The Family Game, I've been wanting to get to it and just have not. Bones and All, I am one of those girls, once I watch a movie, I don't want to read the book. I don't want to read the book. So if I want to read the book of something, I don't watch the movie. I wait to watch the movie. But I've already seen the Bones and All movie and liked it, but I also still want to read the book. So I want to see if I can get to Bones and All this year. Do I have anything else that I want to get to? How many is that? Let's see. Let's do some counting. So we have Mama Day, On Beauty, Gatsby, Animal Farm, Lord of the Flies, Little Woman, Honey and Spice, The Force of Such Beauty, Junie B. Jones. I'm trying to make sure that's all the stuff that I own. So then we have Cersei. Cersei, The Two Amaris puts us at 12. Death on the Nile puts us at 13. Bones and All puts us at 14. The Other Witchling books puts us at 15. Wrong Place, Wrong Time puts us at 16. Alice Island puts us at 17. The Overnight Guest puts us at 18. The Family Game puts us at 19. Babel puts us at 20. Jar of Hearts puts us at 21. Pachinko puts us at 22. Ooh, I'm way fucking over. Allegedly puts us at 23. I gave y'all one too many with Radio Silence. I literally had this whole list and I was just like, that's that. So I gave you 24, but you can decide to cut what you want to cut. Anyways, that is the end of this one. It's not a Lily Reads. If Kenya doesn't show you, she can read, but she cannot count. She cannot count. Math is not what she got her degree in. She did not get her degree in math. She got her degree in books. Anyways, that is the end of this one. I will see you all in my next one. Peace.